Like, my kids aren't racist at all. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting that in their head that they have to be anti-racist and call out racism? And like, they're trying to make kids activists. I'm like, hey, they're 5.
Village idiot Joe Rogan has what he thinks is a monumental take on how we teach children about race in school.
Schools out here, we're lucky.
Word of mouth.
California is much more problematic right now for schools. Because one of the things that was happening to me in my school where my kids used to go is they hired some person to teach them that they have to be anti-racists, and it's not good enough to not be racist. And I was like, what? Like, my kids aren't racist at all. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting that in their head that they have to be anti-racist and call out racism? And like, they're trying to make kids activists. I'm like, hey, they're 5.
That's not even the whole segment that I'm going to show you, but I already have so many thoughts. First, when did it become bad and indoctrination to teach children, hey, if you see someone being a jerk to someone else, it's always good to stand up for the victim and stand up to the bully? That is essentially what teaching kids to stand up to racism is. Second of all, Joe Rogan, I am so sorry that your white children have to understand that sometimes people pick on other people because of race. Because you know what? Yeah, your kids are 5 and they don't understand that concept, but I guarantee you there are 5-year-olds of color who very much have come across this issue and very much experience it almost on a daily basis. But I'm so sorry that your poor white children just have to be aware of it at all.
That's crazy.
Like, they don't even care. They want friends. They don't give a fuck what their friends look like. They're trying to have a good time. They're 5. They're just playing. Like, you're pumping in, you're indoctrinating them into this woke, guilt-free or guilt-ridden ideology that you're carrying around with you, and you feel like you have an obligation to impose this on children. Our goals should have always been what the goals were that the liberals had in like the 60s and the 70s, which is a colorblind society. The Martin Luther King notion that we should treat people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, but across the board. And the problem is there's inequities in communities. There's inequities in how people grow up and where they come from, and some people are in places that have no hope, and none of that gets addressed. None of that gets fixed. None of that gets worked on. Instead, you just try to make kids feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't like the woke shit. I didn't like that they were, trying to ask kids their pronouns.
Listen, I grew up in the Midwest in a very well-intending Democratic family, and there was a lot of talk of color blindness. And I grew up believing that was good, that was progressive. That was what I had in my head growing up. And I think a really good way to explain why color blindness doesn't work and only really serves to make white people feel good about themselves is when I was 12, I very happily told a black girl in my class that I was colorblind. I didn't see color. And she got very angry at me. And you know what? She had a right to be. And she said to me, I wake up every day and I have to see color, so you better see it. People of color don't get the option to be colorblind. It doesn't work that way because they don't get to escape racism. It's all around them constantly, no matter how many well-intentioned white people are colorblind. What's actually helpful and beneficial to communities of color is if you understand that you are in a privileged point in society and you use that to help underprivileged people. You use that to your advantage to help make change. Anyway, don't listen to Joe Rogan. He's an idiot. Listen to communities that are actually affected by the things he's talking about. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out some of my content that isn't news related, you can always check out my personal YouTube page at Bad Gamer Wyatt. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.